For the next coverage of our MR2 Monrioring Grand Prix, we have the team from the Philippines, Yorick, and his handler, Albert James Dichaves.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Albert Dichaves from Philippines. My dog Yorick, and then our jumps will be the palisade and the hurdle, both maximum. And then recall will be a whistle.
First exercise is the food refusal. Meatballs are the food items used in this trial. They will get full points for this exercise. Next one, we have healing. I believe that was a fault as the dog lagged behind, and that fault cost half a point, so it will be 5.5 out of 6 for this exercise. And now the team will be prepping for the send-away. Unfortunately, the dog did not go through the optimal zone, which is in between the two charging bulls, so they will get a 0 for this exercise. Next exercise is the retrieve. The retrieve item will be a yellow garden hose. It also has the added difficulty of the handler being in a sitting position when he throws the retrieve. Now the retrieve itself was well executed. However, the handler had to give extra commands to let the dog out the object. Only one command is allowed in the retrieve exercise, so the judge gave him a 0 out of 12 for this one. We now move on to the absence of handler exercise. The dog will be down next to the wine barrels, and the distraction will be someone ringing the bell from behind the dog. The dog looked up as the handler walked away, which means this will be another 0 exercise as the dog is not allowed to change position in the absence of handler. Next is the scent discrimination exercise. The dog needs to use his nose to identify a piece of wood with the handler's scent. The wood will be placed next to 3 other identical pieces of wood. In this trial, there's an additional difficulty because the wood is placed behind a fence next to some plastic animals. So the judge made the exercise go ahead, but I believe the handler made a violation there because his back wasn't turned to the dog when he placed the wood. So it's stated in the rules that you must place the piece of wood with your back to the dog. So even though the dog got the correct piece of wood in this instance, I believe this is still a 0 exercise. Unfortunately, this is the World Championship, so they are very strict with their judging. Next exercise is the change of positions. The first position will be a down. The dog executed all the position changes and he will only be losing half a point for forging forward half a meter. We now go to the jumps. The jump of choice is the palisade. In level 2, the handler gets to choose between the palisade or the long jump. This palisade will be done at a height of 1.2 meters. Full points for this exercise. Unfortunately, we don't have any coverage for the hurdle where the team got 18 out of 20, and the flee with gunshots where the team got 26 out of 30. So we now move on to the defensive handler exercise. So the dog stayed for an extra 5 seconds after the out command, which means a penalty of 2 points per second, so that's minus 10. Then after the aggression from the decoy, there was a delay with the dog engaging, so that's another 1 point penalty. Next exercise is the search and escort. The decoy is hidden somewhere in the field and the dog has to find the decoy, then bark to signal the discovery. In this trial, the decoy is hidden in the windmill. The wind is blowing in that direction, so the dog should make the discovery as soon as he runs behind it. And that is a successful discovery. The handler can now come in, ask the decoy to step out, and the escort can begin. The decoy just signaled to the judge that the dog bit him in the blind, which will incur a 5-point penalty. The dog is not allowed to bite in the blind, it can only bark to signal the discovery of the decoy. The dog can only bite if the decoy tries to make an escape, and the dog would lose 1 point for every meter that the decoy manages to escape. The decoy didn't manage to get any meters in that instance. However, the dog stayed on for 2 extra seconds after the out command and will lose 4 points for that. Again, no meters lost in the second attempt. However, the dog stayed on for an extra 3 seconds after the out command and will get a 6-point penalty. In level 2, the decoy is allowed to use an obstacle in one of the escape attempts. In this trial, the obstacle used is a pile of sandbags. The decoy is allowed 3 opportunities to use the obstacle. In this instance, the decoy managed to take 2 meters from the dog for 2 points. Then staying on the bite for an extra 2 seconds after the out command will incur a 4-point penalty. So all in all, the team got 17 out of 40 points for this exercise. Next exercise is the face with stick over obstacle. It can't be seen in the video, but the dog has advanced 1 meter from the start line and that would cost him 1 point. Unfortunately, the dog hit the obstacle as he came in, which caused a 4-second delay in bite that would be an 8-point penalty. Then the handler had to do a second recall, which is a 5-point penalty. Then the 6-second extra bite after the recall would have cost 2 points per second. However, you can only lose 10 points for the recall, so that's a minus 10. The last exercise is the face with accessories. That was a good entry, no delay in the bite. And that was also a good recall, no delay, so full points for this exercise. Next up will be the team from Brazil.